welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast, coming to you from beautiful NRB in Nashville, Tennessee. And we've got Matt Trayler, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications for CBMC Inc. Matt, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you want to tell us a little about who you are, what you do, and what brought you out to NRB this year?
Yeah, well, I work with the ministry of CBMC.
Nice.
It's Christian Businessmen's Connection.
Oh, I love that.
Christian Businessmen's Connection, or CBMC, has been around for almost 100 years.
Wow.
Started on the heels of the Great Depression. Business leaders seeing their colleagues, devastated from the financial loss, committing suicide.
Wow.
And they decided, hey, we need to do something. So they began forming committees for prayer and evangelism, and really trying to encourage guys in the workspace. 100 years later, we're still active.
That's amazing.
Working in that space.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've been a leader of a business ministry within my own church. It was one of the more fulfilling things that I ever got to do in ministry. At the church level, at the community level. Because I can direct traffic in the parking lot, and I can put out chairs, and I can watch kids for an hour, and I can do all those things.
Right.
But as someone who has achieved a certain level of business knowledge through my career, it was really probably the most fulfilling to minister through the context of equipping Christians to basically do whatever they wanted to do in their careers, whether that was launch a small business or do a startup or find a new job or find a better job. So I'd be curious, what types of what is your structure on kind of delivering that impact? Is it still kind of evangelism and prayer within the workplace, or is it equipping, or is it mentorship? I'd be curious to
It's
kind of.
all.
That's great. That's
so
amazing.
ultimately, we want to reach men in the workplace with the gospel. We want to empower them with tools and community to grow their faith, and ultimately, we want to deploy them as impactful leaders in their sphere of influence.
I love that.
So we work with a lot of business owners, business leaders, who want, first of all, if they own a business, they want a business that brings glory to God.
Yep.
So what does that look like?
Yeah.
A lot of business leaders feel like they're alone, especially at a certain level.
Yep.
So we provide peer advisory groups to help with that, to be able to provide a place where guys can come and share issues, but also encourage one another. And those are one of our peer advisory groups is called Trusted Advisor Forums, and we have over 300 of those teams across the country, where again business owners and leaders can become a part of that. We also provide support to solopreneurs, guys who are running. They're a company of one.
Yeah.
What does their support look like in terms of just having guys pour into what they're doing, and also again, how do I live out my faith in that space? So we provide support again through that avenue. Ultimately, we want guys to also be in a life-on-life discipleship relationship, because we know guys tend, especially when the pressures of success or the chasing of a paycheck or job title, there's a lot of stress that goes along with that. We want guys to not live in isolation. Many guys with that stress succumb to temptations or deviate. Faith is not at the core of who they are, and so we want to help guys. We want to model that through life-on-life discipleship with more spiritually mature men who are business owners and business leaders, to be able to come alongside, especially the younger generation, and help them see, how do you live out your faith in your everyday life? What does that look like?
I love that. I love the focus on solopreneurs as well, because with AI, it's becoming easier and easier to be a company of one, so to speak. My little podcast and the associated things that it cross-pollinates is me doing all the work, my wife doing the books, and then my clients. I'm lucky enough to occasionally get a client who has a similar worldview to me, and we can come out and do these types of things. But it's also, sometimes when you're working in sectors of the American economy, you can't really be that overt on your beliefs, or for fear of persecution or losing contracts and things like that. So, and then with AI, it's just unleashing productivity on people whose side hustle becomes the real hustle, and then helping them transition into leaving their 9 to 5 and moving into full-time entrepreneurship. So I'd be curious, how are you guys addressing AI? Are you guys AI optimists, AI skeptics, maybe a little bit of both? But yeah, I think, and then another huge trend, when I was laid off from my last agency, I didn't get the, C-level, half six-figure offer that I used to get, in prior times. Did get to go into entrepreneurship, and it's a huge blessing. But more and more people, when they have a job disruption in the future, I believe will have to move to the freelance economy. We're moving away from, even further away from the idea of a company man or a company job. So it's not just transitory from job to job, it's going to be completely outside of the W-2 ever again for a lot of us that are laid off in the the coming cycles. So I'd be curious, how are you preparing that next generation or that next group of solopreneurs that are going to be encountering that even maybe by circumstances that aren't their choosing, but it can be a huge blessing on the other end if they lean into it.
Well, we think it's very important, especially when fluctuations in the job market happen, especially with AI, that you have people around you, people who are praying with you, praying for you, people you're networking with who share, who are like-minded. And it's not always, you can find that in the church, but when it comes to the workplace in the church, it can be difficult. We've talked with pastors, encouraging them. Some pastors struggle. How do I talk to men in my church who are business leaders? It can be intimidating. I don't know how to connect with them sometimes. But we know that community happens in the church, but we want to encourage guys to look for community, especially when it comes around their work, their vocation, and finding that community, and we provide that through peer advisory groups or life on life discipleship, so that when those fluctuations come, you have somebody to lean on and lean into who can encourage you through that. And also, again, there's that networking, that invaluable networking that we need. When it comes to AI, we don't necessarily have a position statement on it. We understand it's a tool. What we don't want to see happen is guys, that tool become an idol or become, because it's almost, as I interact with AI, you're talking to it like it's a being. Yeah. It's not as sterile as it once was. It's like sometimes if you're edgy with it, it actually gives you better answers because it behaves that it's like, oh, hey, you're being lazy. Oh, okay, sorry. Here's the real answer. Here's the better answer. And so it can be easy to think that is human interaction when it's really not. And so we need another human, men particularly, to interact with in that space, and to have that brotherhood of men who are encouraging us and holding us accountable. Accountability. When you're living in isolation, you don't have anybody holding you accountable. So having someone that can speak into your life in a loving way, but also hold you accountable and ask you powerful questions is invaluable, and we provide those tools at CBMC to help guys learn how to do that.
I love it. All right, so as a marketer, there's a whole nother toolkit, as it pertains to AI. Generative AI, the ability to vibe code, the ability to build products, MVPs, and things like that overnight, the ability to generate a landing page from just tossing out some words. And even for me, I've always had ideas of marketing campaigns that I would launch for my little consultancy. If I ever had a $20,000 budget to go out and shoot a video, I have it in my head of even what it would look like and the direction of it. And now you can literally go into Adobe Firefly, write a script, and generate videos that look pretty darn close. Pretty real. Be curious, as a marketer, how do you think about leveraging AI?
I use it every day.
The world out. Yep.
With our ministry, we are small and mighty. I'm a department of 1.5, pretty much, for a national ministry. And so certainly lean on AI to help with social media. I've used it to generate images that I can't find in a stock file somewhere. I can generate really good, realistic images to help convey messaging. And again, creating messaging campaign or marketing campaigns. It's AI has been invaluable to a small ministry, but we still want to be careful. And again, as a ministry, we try to model business principles and to our ministry members. And so we use EOS as a, I don't know if you're familiar with EOS, but to run our ministry on. So any tool we use, we want to use it responsibly and be able to be a model for business leaders who are part of our ministry.
I love it. When you're sitting on the intellectual capital of Christian business leaders, that's a pretty powerful opportunity for content marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Marketing. I imagine you guys either have thought of or should definitely. Do you guys have a podcast as well?
We have experimented with it. Margin and human capital was holding us back. My background originally, before going into full-time ministry, was television film production. So I have some expertise. And we've experimented with a few. One we did Leaders Above, which is a small podcast we did a couple times. And we did a 4-part series with on helping business leaders off-ramp when they sell. What does it look like to sell your company and do it in a way that glorifies God? And what do I do next after I sell my company, especially going into retirement?
And also the family dynamics that come
right.
with that.
So we did a 4-part with experts in that field.
I love that. That's really cool. All right, so NRB, what does this conference mean to you as a marketer, as an experiential marketer, giving this community an opportunity to interact with your brand, and what are you looking to achieve here this week?
Well, our time here, we wanted to connect with some of our media partners and be able to, again, share what is going on with CBMC and remind people that we are a ministry out there that's been around for, like I said, almost 100 years. And to be able to see in the media community what else is out there. I mean, go to the expo floor and there's just so many different programs that range from very different parts of the spectrum, focus on the religious community. And so to be able to connect in, network, and share with them what our ministry does, our little niche, if you will, of how we focus on men in the marketplace. It's been invaluable to be here.
I can imagine. That's awesome. Well, very fascinated and excited to, definitely learn more myself as a solopreneur who was once involved in business ministry and saw it as a very, beneficial thing, both as a facilitator, but, as they say, you get what you put out, and a lot of times you learn more and you get more from imparting into others than you think you are doing for them. It's a two-way street for sure. So if folks are curious or want to learn more, where would you like to send the audience?
Yeah, the best place to go is to our website, www.cbmc.com. Pretty easy, and if they want to look at our programs and tools, or they want to get involved with a peer advisor group team, you can easily find an active team on our website in your location. Or maybe one of your listeners is saying, hey, I feel led to impact the next generation. I want to start a YP team, or I want to do Life on Life, discipleship, and mentor and disciple another man. They can easily go to our website and see how to get started with that.
I love it. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
you
for
spending
having
a little bit of time with us.
Absolutely.